All right. I'm recording this outdoors, so hopefully we can get this done right. All right. So let's get down to business. So this is 15A, LabWork 15A, answer key. So first one we're gonna do is 1. All right, and it says 4 log base b of y plus 3 log base b of z. All right, so with that being said, number one, we have the power rule. So what we would want to do is log base b of y raised to the 4th plus log base b z to the 3rd. So what we did was took this coefficient and change it to the power. And then we took this coefficient and made it to the power. Okay, so that's what the power rule says, right? So now what we can do is now we have the product rule, which means that because these are adding, what I can do is combine them and multiply them. So I got y to the 4th times z to the 3rd. And that would be my answer, which is choice A. Go. There we go. All right. To number 2. Okay, number 2 says g of x is equal to negative 3x plus 2 all over 4x plus 6. And what I need to find is the horizontal asymptote. Okay, so since the 4 and the 3, actually not that, since the highest power on top and the highest power on the bottom have the same powers, right? So let me break this down. Since the highest power on top is the same as the highest power on the bottom then the horizontal asymptote is the ratio of its coefficient. Okay, or coefficients. There we go. So that means the horizontal asymptote is going to be y is equal to negative 3 over 4, which is choice C. There we go. All right, number 3. All right, number 3 gives you the equation 4 raised to the power of 7 minus 3x is equal to 1 over 16. So there's really two ways of doing this, all right? So I'll do what I've taught in red, all right? So we're trying to get them to be the same base, okay? So I'll call this method A, okay? So the method A would be, okay, so I got 4 raised to the 7 minus 3x, and that's equal to 1 over 4 squared, because 16 would be 4 squared. So I got 4 to the 7 minus 3x power is equal to 4 to the negative 2 power, because it's in the denominator, so I want to move it to the numerator, so that's going to flip the power. So since the two bases are the same, then I have 7 minus 3x is equal to negative 2. Negative 3x is equal to negative 9, so x is going to equal to 3. And that, ladies and gentlemen, would be choice C. There we go. Now, the other way of doing it, I would do it as a B, okay? So with method B, what you guys can still do is just say, you know what, I'm just going to take the ln of both sides. 4 raised to 7 minus 3x is equal to ln of 1/16. Okay, so here you're going to have to apply more rules. It's going to be a little bit longer, but it's going to actually become less thinking. Okay, the A method, the red method here, is actually going to be more remembering. All right, so if you don't want to remember more, then the B method is the way to go. So what you would do is from there you go, okay, on the left side here, the blue method is a power rule. So I'm going to have this 7 minus 3x times the ln of 4, which is equal to, and then on the right is a division rule. So I'm going to have ln. I'm going to have the ln of 1 minus the ln of 16. Now, the part that you have to know is that the ln of 1 is actually just 0. Okay, so again, let me write this out again. 7 minus 3x times the ln of 4 is equal to 0 minus ln of 16. So I should have 7 minus 3x is equal to negative ln of 16 divided by ln of 4. Let me grab my calculator. Okay, so I'm going to have a 7 minus 3x is equal to 2. So negative 2. So negative 3x would equal to negative 9. So x is going to equal 3, which is choice C again. So either way you do it, you're going to get to the right answer. Okay, so again, the one on the right is using more of the log ln type rules. So like the power rule and the division rule, you might get a product rule, right? The division rule is actually called a quotient rule. But the key piece is going to be this piece right here, all right? That the ln of 1, log of 1, log base, any base of 1 is always going to equal to 0, okay? So that's a piece that you're going to need to remember. All right, so here we go. Let's go for more. So number 4 now. Okay, so number 4. So it wants you to find midpoint of 4, 7, and 7, negative 6. So it wants you to find midpoint. Midpoint is just like the average of those 2 points. So you're going to take the x values. You're going to take the x values, which is 4 plus 7, and divide that by 2. And then you're going to take the y values, 7 plus negative 6, and divide that by 2. Well, if you do that, the x value is going to be 11 halves, comma, 1 halves. So that is your midpoint, and that is also your answer, which is choice B. Boom. And that's all midpoint is. It's just the average of the x's, comma, average of the y's. All right? All right, so number 5. All right, number 5. I got 5 vertical asymptote, and it's giving me h of x is equal to x plus 1 over x times x minus 3. So one of the things that we talked about is that this is more about the restrictions, right? So the restriction is based on the denominator. So all I'm doing is taking the denominator and setting that equal to 0. And when I set that equal to 0, I'm going to set each factor equal to 0. So I got x is equal to 0 and x is equal to 3. And since when I look at this, there's nothing that cancels. When I'm looking at this, since nothing cancels, then those are my vertical asymptotes. If something canceled, then that whatever canceled would be my so-called hole or open circle. Okay, so that's the case. So that means my answer is C. And these are both my vertical asymptotes. All right. There we go. All right, 6. All right, for 6, what is it asking for? It's saying the manufacturer of a CD player has found the revenue in dollars is R of, let me do it this way, P is equal to negative 5 P squared plus 1310 P, okay? So what you got to notice is this, is that because that this is in the parentheses, that this is your so-called X value and the R is your so-called Y value. So that's what you have to remember, all right? So that's what you need to remember. In fact, let me do this prettier. Okay, so since this is inside, no. Okay, since this is inside, that would be your so-called X value. And since this is on the outside, this would be considered your Y value, okay? So, with every single maximizing problem, okay, so you're always maximizing the Y, okay? So with every maximizing value, what you would need in that case is going to be, actually, I should almost say that this is like an asterisk. What you actually need is your vertex. Okay, and the vertex is going to be, let's see if this, nice, it does do it. So with your vertex, this is your vertex, okay? So it's a maximum value, and it has an X and a Y, okay? So in this case, it's gonna be your P comma your R, okay? So in order to find vertex, however, you'll find your axis of symmetry, okay? To find the axis of symmetry, that is going to be X is equal to negative B over 2A. In this case, it's going to be P is equal to negative B over 2A. So P is going to equal to negative 1310 divided by 2 times negative 5. So P is going to equal to 131. Okay, so P is equal to 131. But the question is going to say, if the manufacturer sets the price P to maximize revenue, what is the maximum revenue, right? So it wants to know what the revenue is. So in order to find what the revenue is, what I'm going to find is R of 131. So that's what I want to actually find. So let's replace all the P's with 131. All right, so a little quick note here again. Order operation tells me to do this piece first. Okay. It's going to tell me to do that piece first. So that's the part that we have to do first. So, but anyways, R of 131 is actually going to equal to $85,805. Okay, and that is going to be my choice D. There you go. All right, that's number 6 already. Let's see what number 7 says. All right, number 7 is one of your favorite problems. It's about that rectangular grassy lot. All right, so this is number 7. Just want to make sure that I have enough space here. Okay, so we're on number 7. All right, number 7. So what I have is I have a road. All right. My road, and what I'm going to have is, it have to be yellow, right? Orange makes more sense here. There we go. All right, and then I have a grassy field. All right, so let's see if I can make this grassy field grassy. Alright, so that's as grassy as I'm going to make it get right there. Alright, so there's my grassy field, and what I'm going to have is I'm going to have a fence. Whoa. Alright, so there's my fence. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this side X. That means that side will be X and this side is Y. Alright, so the amount of fencing I have is, so fencing, what I have is 228 feet. Okay, so the 228 feet is going to equal to my 2x's plus my y. Okay, so that's what my fencing is going to be. My area, however, since I labeled it this way, it's going to be x times y. So what I want to do is replace either the x or the y, but since the y is by itself, I'm going to do this. I'm going to take this equation and I'm going to solve for y. So here I'm going to have y is equal to negative 2x plus 228. So I'm going to subtract 2x over to the other side, and I'm going to replace the y here with this y. Okay, so now my area is going to equal to x times negative 2x plus 228. Okay, so my area is going to equal to negative 2x squared plus 228x. Okay, so this right here would give me a parabola. That's a frowny face. So again, I gotta find the vertex. In order to find the vertex, I gotta find the axis of symmetry. So to find the axis of symmetry, as x is equal to negative b over 2a, so that's equal to negative 228 divided by 2 times negative 2, so that's going to give me a 57. All right, so that's going to give me a 57. All right, so from there, I have two choices. So what I know is my x value is 57. So this right here is equal to 57. And this right here is also equal to 57. All right, so that's what you know. So either I need to find the find the y so that I can find the area. So I got two choices. Choice one, I can take what I did for the fencing, 228 is equal to 2 times 57 plus y and solve for y, right? Or I can use the area, and that's going to equal to -2 times that 57 squared plus 228 times 57. So either one is absolutely fine, okay? But again, please do not forget that this is what you have to find first, okay? The 57 squared first so that you don't get that mixed up. All right, so you gotta always do the exponent before you multiply, all right? So what you'll get for y, actually let me erase this, what you'll get here is 228 is equal to 114 plus y, so y is going to equal to 114, okay? If you do the area, you're going to get area is equal to 6498, which is choice C. Okay, so this is if you use the area, but that is only if you're good with the order operations. Now over here, once I find my y, I know that my area is equal to x times y. My x was 57 and my y was 114, which then you'll get that the area is going to equal to 6498, which is again choice C. So either way you want to do it, however your brain thinks is the way you want to do this problem, and not really veer off of that, right? You want to stay with how your brain thinks, right? So I know that my y is going to equal to 114. There we go. All right, up to 8. All right, so there's my 8. 8 is the volleyball pole, right? So one of the things I talked about the volleyball pole is that, oops, is that you have this piece here, and you're going to have a rope that's tied off and roped off this way and staked down. Oops. Okay, so that's what you're going to have. Make that bigger. So you're going to have this stake down and this stake down. So if you go to the side view of what that is going to look like, it's going to look like this. Okay, it's going to look like a right triangle, right? Where it's going to be 4 feet. Oops. It's going to be 4 feet. And it's also going to be 8 feet high. Okay, so there is going to be 2 of these, right? Right, because there's going to be one here and a second one there, right? So I'm going to do the Pythagorean theorem. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared, all right? So I'm going to call this c over here. So I have 4 squared plus 8 squared equals c squared. So I have 16 plus 64 is equal to c squared. And 16 plus 64 is 80 is equal to c squared. So c is going to equal to the square root of 80. And you can break down 80, right? 80 can break down to what? 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 5. Is that right? No. There we go. That looks better. Right? And what I have here is I got a pair there. And I also have a pair here. Okay? So with that being said, C is equal to 4 square root of 5. Okay? So with that being said, there is 2 of those, right? So then what I have as an answer is that I got 2 times that 4 square root of 5, so it's going to give me 8 square root of 5, which is choice D. All right, so that's 8. So let's get to number 9. All right, number 9 says log base 5 of the square root of x over 125. Okay, so I have the quotient rule. So what this is going to break down to be is going to be log base 5 of square root of x minus log base 5 of 125. Right? So I need to make things into powers. And since this is log base 5, I can make 125 a base of 5 as well. So I have log base 5 of x raised to the 1/2 power, because square root, same thing as rational exponent of 1/2, is equal to log base 5. And 125 can be written as 5 times 5 times 5, right? So that would be 5 to the 3rd. Okay? So with that being said, now still the power rule. I'm going to have 1/2 log base 5 of x. Oops. This should not be minus. This should be, it shouldn't be equal, it should be minus. So that minus 3 log base 5 of 5. Now the question is, what does this really mean, right? So with that being said, that actually equals to 1. Okay, so that means I'm going to have 1/2 log base 5 of x minus 3, because 3 times 1 is just 3. So that's going to be choice C. Voila. All right, 10. So 10, there should not be any work to it. All right. So the equation that's given to you is that A is equal to 9400 e to the 0.061 t. Okay, but what it's asking for is what percentage. Okay, and the percent is literally right, it's given to you already, and it's right there. Okay, so all you have to do, all you have to do is take that right, all you have to do is take that 0.061, which is your decimal form, and convert it to percent, which is move the decimal place 2 times to the right, so you get 6.1%, which is choice D. There you go. All right. I hope you guys enjoy this. If there's any questions, let me know. All right. Later. And good luck on the final exam, buddies.